Hello, folks, and welcome to this edition of Games Equal Life. And here today, I'm going to be talking about a topic that I've talked about before. And if you've seen any of my previous videos, then you've probably heard me tell you a few things about it. Today, we're talking about D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I've talked about it before in terms of should you or should you not play, and another video on the fact that most people, whether they're aware of it or not, have probably already played games that carry heavy elements of the D&D world. Now, what I'm going to talk to you about is the actual gameplay and how it functions and how you progress through your own little D&D story. And as always, I'm going to have some links in the descriptions below so you can pick up anything that you might need to play the game if you're interested. For all you new people out there who don't know about D&D, I'm just going to explain how you play the game. First, the whole thing begins, if you're a player and not the DM or dungeon master, you begin by creating a character. And how do you create a character? Well, the same way as you would in any other game. Basically, you choose a character class. Anything ranging from archers or paladins, knights, to wizards, mages, black mages, all types of things. Basically, as far as your imagination can stretch out to, those are the characters you can create. You can create absolutely anything that falls into almost any category that you could possibly imagine. Now, you create this character by rolling dice. Rolling these dice gives you the statistics, the digits for your individual character. By rolling a set of dice, you are given an allotment of points to use, and using those points, you put them into the different categories of your character, just like you would in any video game. You're given an allotment of points, just like in Fallout 4. You're given an allotment of points, and you place those points into the different areas of your character that you want him to be good at, that you want him to succeed in. And they will basically dictate how you go through the game, and you can upgrade any of them if you want. So even if you start out with a certain build, you can always change that build as you progress through the game, just like in any video game. Second, gameplay. Now that you have customized and created your character, you can go ahead and start playing the game. And how this functions is, as with most things in D&D, it's a roll of a dice. No different than the computer-generated numbers that come up for weapons when you make attacks in a video game. Just like in Borderlands, when you shoot an enemy, a number pops up above that enemy telling you how much damage that individual attack did. And it's no different in D&D. Your character, based on their stats, gets a certain amount of damage per hit, and based on the roll you make as the player, usually including the roll of a d20 dice, this determines your attack and your attack's effectiveness. You do this for just about everything. Not only do you use it in combat, but you can also use this outside of combat with your character's other attributes and abilities. Some people will want to be more conversational, have the ability to talk around people, you know, those silver-tongued guys who want to be able to talk themselves out of almost any situation. And if you put the points into that category of your character, you can. And once again, putting points in your character always gives you an advantage in that specific area, but the roll of the dice can always turn on you. You could roll the dice and, you know, score a perfect 20 on the 20-sided die, and whatever you do gets critical bonus points to whatever you're trying to accomplish, whether it be trying to spot out traps, trying to convince somebody they don't want to kill you, even though they obviously do. All of these things are determined by not only your individual character stats, but by the roll of the dice. In fact, if your character stats are good enough, you can surpass the dice, having such a high score in any individual category that you would actually have to roll a 1, which is a critical fail, in order to mess that up. And that's pretty much that when it comes to D&D. Just like in video games, when you make a character and set him up to be a badass in any given situation, he's going to be. Next comes progressing through the story. Now that you're able to successfully go through combat and even outside of combat situations, using your knowledge of D&D and the world that you're in, you can progress through the story. You usually do this by making conversation with the NPCs, non-player characters, and or characters that the DM or Dungeon Master places into the game to allow you to progress in the story. And once again, having high marks in conversationalism and, manipulation, being able to talk to people well, usually helps you do this in the game. But you can do it by other means. If you make your character a badass and make him especially good at intimidation, you can pretty much scare the living crap out of anyone you want and make them do whatever you want them to do, whether it be telling you information or giving you exactly whatever you want. And just like in video games, you can play either the good guy, the bad guy, or anything in between, depending on your playthrough of the game. Now, I've given you a pretty good idea of how the game functions and how you play it. So now that I have, I'm just going to go ahead and leave you guys with this. As always, links in the description below for anything that you might need regarding playing D&D if you've never played. And if you have, I hope you like the way I described the game. And if you haven't, just like anyone else, leave a comment. Tell me what you thought about me, how you felt I broke down the game and its mechanics, and if you want me to say anything particular in my next upcoming videos, go ahead and leave that in the comments. I read those things, man. Trust me. I will hear you out. Now, you guys have a good one, and this has been the latest edition of Gangs Equal Life. Please comment, like, subscribe.